What's going on, folks? We went in on Wednesday, Patriot Business Alliance. Thanks for joining us tonight in the War Room. How you guys doing this week? How's the world treating y'all? KC?
Man, it's absolutely unbelievable, remarkable, amazing, the greatest. That's what kind of week it's been.
And we're going to dive a little bit deeper into those wins. It sounds like you got just you're an overflow of winning out there. And we can't wait to dive into it.
Yes, sir.
Man, guys, we got some exciting topics tonight. We're talking about that work-life balance. We're trying to close out Q4, so we want to evaluate how, if we juggle too much this year, how did we process those things? Where did we fail at? Where did we improve our systems? Where did we improve our processes? And how are we going to move forward and continue to crush it through the end of the year and then on into 2022? But before we get too deep into that, we always want to start out with our gratitudes and our wins. And we're going to throw my man Evan on the spot. He just said, Mike, I want to do what you guys are doing. And we're like, well, show up. He's like, when? I'm like, now. And he's like, oh, crap. He wasn't right. But now he's here, and we welcome. He's going to be a huge component to the Patriot Business Alliance. He's got a wealth of information in regards to videography and stuff that hurts my brain when he starts talking to me about it. I was like, just write it down and make it happen. So, Evan, how have you won this past week? What are some things that you may be grateful for with those wins, and how has it kind of impacted you?
Yeah. Well, first, thanks for having me, guys. I'm super excited about this. I guess this past week, a big win. Today actually is kind of a family win, if that counts.
They count.
My wife and I both are kind of juggling, multiple roles, responsibilities. She's actually right now observing her first birth as a doula. So that's something we've been kind of juggling, her responsibilities at home with the kids. And then she's also been studying at night, and the same with me having a full-time job, all while trying to build my video business on the side. So just the win in that is that we've both been able to kind of support each other, lift each other up, kind of pick up some of the responsibilities for one another when needed. And really, super excited about what's to come. I feel like we're barely scratching the surface of it. Super pumped about it. And I'm happy she's able to do that tonight.
And that's huge. And I believe family wins are sometimes more important than business wins, because oftentimes those are the ones that get neglected first. Oftentimes those are the ones that we take for granted in life, is our family. Yeah. And if we don't recognize the wins that we have with them, then what the hell are we doing here? Right? What the hell are we grinding and hustling?
Yeah. What's all about?
Going to war and all this. What are we doing this all for? If the people that we love, cherish, and adore, when we walk through the front door, they're like, oh, who are you? Yeah. You know what I mean? So
they're already in bed.
They're already in bed. I mean, you know it. Shit. I mean, you know it. You get it.
We all did it. We all
did it. And, they're
18-hour days are.
Yeah. And they're real, and those can pop up anytime. And fortunately, we have strong women in our lives that understand that, appreciate that, and understand the entrepreneurial lifestyle, because they are both entrepreneurs in their own right.
Yeah, and that's exactly what's going on in Evan's household. And, I'm super impressed with this young man. He's just dived right into all of the madness and mayhem that is Patriot Business Alliance. So that's a win for the PBA.
Yeah. Like, I don't really think he fully knows what he's jumping into.
Yeah.
Like,
we don't want him to.
We've only met like a handful of times. Yeah. I don't know what his reactions are after he leaves. He probably prays a little bit.
Yeah,
he's like, holy crap, this guy's got too much.
Well, I had him up on a roof in high winds. The other day he's almost got taken off like Dorothy and Toto.
He's like, who are we running with? You're running with winners.
Yeah. People who juggle too much.
We juggle way too much, but we're definitely team oriented.
Yeah. So we are audience, we want to hear from you. We want to hear about your wins. We want to hear about your learns. I have an expression, you either win or you learn. And I don't remember who first gave me that knowledge, but whenever that bomb dropped on me, that revelation, right? You win or you learn, right? You got takeaways, right? Not everything's the setback you think it is, right? Sometimes it's the setback you needed, right? To do it better, stronger, faster, right? Repetition builds confidence. It takes away the unknown. It builds greatness, right? So let's talk about your weekly wins, big dog, because I know you had some, because you threw some He threw some PT love out on the book on Saturday. People throwing tires, got little babies going over rope ladders.
I mean, we don't mess around. We don't mess around. We're gonna probably make that a new family thing for us because so if y'all don't know what we're talking about, this past weekend, my wife was like, hey, Mike, we got tickets to do a mud run. Me and her have done a mud run together, but never as a family. And I was like, well, what are we going to do with Brooke? And I was like, hey, let's just take her with her. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? I got to carry her. And she's like, all right. So we rode and went down to Fort Worth and participated in a 5K, which is actually, 3 miles? And
3 miles.
Why can't they just call it a 3 mile? Why do they have to confuse people? Because they feel better because they did 5K?
One of these days, the metric system is going to take. It's like Novocaine. It's sooner or later, we're going to abandon this thing that is left over from the medieval days of England.
Like, I just don't get it.
Even Ford Motor Company is metric. You got to have metric tools.
I get it, but it's confusing.
It is
because if you're like, hey, let's go run a 10K,
because nautical miles make total sense.
You're like, no, I'm out. 10K sounds like a lot.
How many nautical miles is that? That's 3
million.
That's 3.37 feet or whatever. Yeah. Multiply that by the square root of beryllium.
Yeah, you end up in the triangle. I mean, it's weird.
It is
all this unnecessary wording and math. So, anyways, we went to a 5K, which is really 3 miles, and I don't even think it was the full 3 miles. And we just
it's like 296 or something.
It's they want everybody to be a winner. So they even had shortcuts in certain spots. Where like if it was too much,
it's like chutes and ladders. You can you can advance stars. To the next.
My son went down one of those. I was like, I said, that's not us. That trail is not meant for us. She's like, yeah, but it takes us right there. I was like, I said, we're winners. I said, let's run up this hill because it was a huge hill in front of us, and he wanted to walk around it, and I was like, no, bro. I said, you are only failing yourself, right? You're not failing me if you don't run up it,
right?
I was like, it's you. You're taking the easy way out. I said, you can do this. You can conquer it. And when he did it, he felt more prideful, So it was an excellent time. Brooklyn had a blast. The kids had a blast. I mean, we as a family, it was just great, and we don't get to have that enough. Because my daughter's 17 and you know what I mean?
Yeah, so it's going fast,
growing
man.
Up and shit. And so that
sorry,
was a huge
Keith.
win. Thanks for
Bing.
Put that on t-shirt. Sorry, Keith.
Hashtag sorry, Keith.
Hashtag sorry, Keith. It's like let's go Brandon or something, right?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to understand the way it all works.
Yeah, that's it.
It's like a 5K.
It's like a 5K.
It's like a 5K.
Yeah.
So enough about me. Thank you for remembering that. That was a lot of fun because essentially when everybody talks about wins, they want to go to business. They want to go to money. They want to go to landed this deal. But again, back to that family, it was more impactful. The memories there are going to last way longer than any dollar bill. What about you, Casey? How you winning, buddy?
Man, well, one, you guys gave me the opportunity to have the week off.
Okay.
So I was super thankful about that. Because RASD blessed us with a little 3.5 day weekend, right? School got out early on Friday. This is last week. School got out early on Friday and no school on Monday. I was able to clear the decks on the calendar for Monday. So left at about 8:00, hit the Big Bend with the family.
Yeah. So the photos, man. You guys look like it was a blast.
Yeah, it was a blast, right? So, you take a big 4-wheel drive monster machine out into the biggest sandbox in Texas, like in its natural environment, and have a little fun. It was more than a little fun.
How did Jen handle it?
There were some moments, right?
Okay.
Because if you've never been to the Big Bend, it is like remote doesn't begin to.
That's right. You're out there.
Yeah, it's truly the last frontier in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
You're about.
It's like Odessa.
Well, so our campsite was on the river, literally on the right on the Rio Grande, and up on a hill, and the next closest water station was probably 80 miles away. 60 miles. I mean, it's far.
Yeah.
Right. If you're on foot,
what you got.
Right. What you brought is what you got. If you're on foot, you're in trouble. And, after you get to Panther Junction, the next closest place to get water is actually out of Big Bend. So about a 2-hour car ride away. right? I mean, it's extremely remote, extremely arid, and it's just extremely beautiful, right? Got to show my boys the natural splendor of Big Bend, of the Rio Grande. There's a hot springs. Did you know there was a hot springs
I did not.
in Big Bend? It was a thing back in the 1910s and 20s.
Sure.
And the stone building, even though it's been almost completely washed away by the river, is still there. And when it's not covered up with river mud and all other stuff, you can actually sit in water that's about 140 degrees.
Really?
Just right there on the Rio Grande. It just juts out, and there's a hot spring coming up out of the earth that God made, put there in this beautiful wilderness. It's absolutely amazing. You got to go check it out. You can't do it all in 3.5 days, but we did some amazing things. My boys got to go camping in the roughest, toughest, remotest place, and they did amazing. They did amazing. And there's, so that experience, just being able to have that win and being blessed by you guys.
Handled well.
Oh,
just making sure.
It's a little wide on some of the roads. They're not really made for Raptors. They're made for little Jeeps. But they're like, when you got everything that's precious to you in the world and you're on a road that's, got a little, it's fine if you're on a motorcycle in South America.
The factor's real.
Yeah, it's definitely real. But also came back home, had an amazing business week. Best month ever. Best month ever.
That's big.
That's very big.
That's big because I know some of your previous months and
best ever.
That's huge.
So, again, I just feel absolutely blessed because, every month every day you're in competition with who you were yesterday, right? You're just trying to dial in, know yourself, improve yourself, dial it in, challenge yourself, do something bigger and bolder, right? Go primitive camping in Big Bend, right? No park ranger to check you in at night.
If I decide to do that, Evan, if you decide to do that, it's going to be imperative that we get some cliff notes from KC. You know what I mean? Because if I go, you know how I roll.
Oh, yeah.
You guys want to go Big Bend? Cool. Get in the truck.
Yeah.
Get in the truck. You're like, don't worry about that. We'll figure that out.
Yeah, we'll get that there.
That's right.
You need to kind of have some things. So, but I'll tell you, I got everything you need.
Guarantee it.
I got the list.
The packing list.
Well, man, that's huge. It sounded like this past week, we really cherished our family and we really stayed focused on what's really important to us. But let's dive into some other important things, and that's shutting down 2020 like a boss.
53 days left, guys.
Like a boss.
53 days.
So, Evan, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions because you're the guest on here, and I'm just kind of intrigued. So, you currently have a full-time job, right? And then you are your side gig, we call it side hustle or whatever your second form of income is this videography. And I know I'm not giving you the justice, the credit that you do. So let us know who you are, what you're about, and kind of and how long you've been doing this.
Yeah, for sure. So I do hold a full-time job. In addition to that, over the last couple of years, I've really taken an interest in video production, which my background prior to video, I ran a fitness business. So everything marketing and kind of just advertising that was necessary for me to grow my own business, I took a liking to that as well. So combining the two of those just made sense for me. Video being something I was interested in, saw it as a tool to leverage for other businesses. But really, I guess the bottom line of it, it's just something that I think that there's value in. It's not just something that's nice to have. It has utility, it has purpose, it has benefit. So that's kind of where I've been. The past couple of years I've done it, kind of alluded to being a side gig, a freelance gig, but really the past 2 months, particularly, I've been taking it a lot more seriously. I've been really just, staying up late nights and really putting everything I can into it. So
when you say taking it more serious, like you formed an LLC?
No, sole proprietorship, because it's just me wearing every hat right now.
Okay.
But yeah.
But it's going to be important that you make that.
Absolutely.
I mean, an LLC, something to protect you.
Yeah.
Something to protect your income.
Hey, I know a guy.
Your family. We do know one or two people that know how to. We call them the Oracle.
Okay.
Google, but we can't give him credit. So a couple of years, you figured out that, man, you really like to videotape and create and just bring something to life. And he's actually done that for the Patriot Business Alliance now. As you guys look behind us, he gave us a few suggestions. He's like, man, if you guys just do this with your light and you paint your wall a bit darker And so if you notice behind us, the wall may be a little bit darker. Maybe people don't even fucking notice. Who knows? But
Sorry,
I'm
Keith.
noticing. Sorry, Keith.
Hey, but I'm going to tell you something though. So Evan met our Holy Trinity by the Episcopal Church just went live. Sorry, Father.
You just went live with the church?
No, I think
Did
the
you
church
bring
is
him in on the live?
the church is broadcasting, and I clicked on their show.
Huh.
Sorry, guys.
You need some Jesus in your life.
I mean, I do, but not right now. I didn't mean to step on the Wednesday service, Father.
Is that you're welcome, Keith?
Yeah.
You're welcome, Keith.
Sorry, Father Keith. So Evan's got some amazing and really funny videos that I don't know if we've talked about, but I'm going to give him a shout out. Like one of them is the best thing about being a dad. So we're talking about loving on our family,
Sure.
but he's got this hilarious video. You got to check it out. Best thing about being a dad, which is what?
Snacks, of
The
course.
snacks.
100% the snacks.
So you gotta get on his YouTube, find that video. You'll be busting out laughing, and you'll be like, how do I do business with this guy?
Yeah.
So Katie from our office found that video and was like, how do we do business with this guy? Next thing you know, we're talking about getting him up on a roof in a high wind situation with no ropes. And he's like, sure, I'll go on I could get blown off, but no problem.
No problem.
And then we got, fat guys and skinny guys running around doing stupid human tricks so we can show what's going on with this roof, blah, blah, blah. It's a great time.
Why haven't I seen this video?
Well, it's a work in progress.
Okay, okay.
And it's for work, right?
I'm assuming.
So it's for work. And anyhow, I mean, maybe there'll be some bloopers and outtakes come out of it later and we'll have a big laugh. But the point is that this is a person we knew we wanted to get close to. We wanted to be in business with. We wanted to do business with. And, we're grateful to have him on our team. So that's a win for the PBA that we met him and that we got him and that he's investing in us as well.
Yeah, we're excited to have him. I mean, I can only thank so much, but there's the details that when we talk about having the people in the right seat on the right bus, this is what we're talking about. Me, if everybody knows, I'm a visionary. I'm a big idea guy. I'm a big thinker guy, and I'm a doer, right? If I see it and I can make it happen, I'm going to do it. But the problem with all that is the visionary oftentimes skips important steps, right? And so that's where Jeff Skinner came in and he was like, bro, if you just slow down a half a second, we can get a little bit tighter. And Casey comes and he's like, man, if we just kind of organize and write some shit down, we can get this a little bit tighter. And then Evan shows up. He's like, man, if you really just do this, this, and this with this camera, then we can get this a little bit tighter. You know what I mean? So as we continue to progress over the last 18 months of doing this, our video quality has gotten better. Our audio quality has gotten better. Our content has gotten better, all because we understand the vision and we understand what it means, the right people, the right seat on the right bus. It boils down to the capacity. Do they want it? Do they have it? Can they do it? Right? And are they willing to do the work? Because getting into this podcasting industry, this quasi coaching, mentoring thing takes time, takes consistency, and it takes money that this thing doesn't even generate. So by him donating his time with his knowledge is just a huge, huge benefit, but it will pay dividends long term.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking financial dividends, but just he'll be able to use the content that he creates to put towards generating new business for his company, because like, look, this is what I'm doing, right? Earning credibility, branding your company, and showing people what you've done in the past. And that's what really makes somebody a winner and successful. So again, we're super excited, Evan. So doing this, right, in this transition, did you think you were ever juggling too much?
Man.
Did you ever think you were just your work-life balance and family, was it just in disarray? And if so, what were some of the things that you recognized and then began to figure out, oh man, I need a system? Sure.
No, I mean, it's huge to have the awareness of being able to take a step back and look at how can I do this more effectively and efficiently. Kind of within that, I tend to just, like you say, you're an action taker, you're a doer. If I see something that I want done, I just default to just start doing things that seem like they're in that route. Mm-hmm. The whole ready, fire, aim approach. I could improve along the way, but if I act on it, I'm at least getting toward that mark. So for me, one of the things that I've found that's been helpful within that vein of self-awareness is taking a step back and looking at objectively, where can I improve my, we'll say time management or efficiency, And, you alluded to systems and having things, anything that's repeatable, can it be done better the next time? And can it be done in a way that is maybe not even myself doing it? It's delegated out down the road. And that's something that right now, wearing every hat, trying to look at it in two parts, like, yeah, I do it this way because maybe it's intuitive, but how could I coach and teach someone else to do it whenever I need to duplicate myself? So I guess coming back to the juggling too much thing, to not take away time from my family, to not take away time from my full-time job, to not do that halfway, to be fully invested there, it does require that, sharpening the blade kind of a thing, doing things well, doing things exceptional the first time, not just going all out and doing them all, I guess, marginally good.
That's my approach, because done's better than perfect.
I love done better than perfect, but there are times that I, I got to check. That's why we have Jeff Skinner can't be here because he's doing something perfect. Right? He's got to do something perfect.
I guarantee it. Man.
Right?
I love him for it.
Yeah, but he also brings that. He pushes us
to become better.
To become better. He's like, stop being, what does he call it? Larry last minute and Hank half-ass. Sorry, Keith. Right? He's like, stop that. Do it perfect. And I think he would be a great extra on that YouTube channel, Dude Perfect.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He'd be the grumpy one.
Yeah.
He probably couldn't flip any cups or hit any dunks. He couldn't do nothing, but he could do it perfect, right? He could make them more perfect.
Yeah. So you have to have those people in your life, because what it's going to do is it's going to help you, because juggling's a good deal. It's a great, it's a trick. It's a deal. It's, you have to be consistent at it when juggling work, life balance, team members. And then you add to it, boom, I'm gonna add another business. Oh, I'm gonna add another hustle. So now, when you first started life, it was marriage, work, family, right? So it's just like, all right, 2 balls. And you're like, all right, I'm an entrepreneur now. So now it's like marriage, entrepreneur, kids. Now we're at 3 balls, right? Now I'm at probably 8 balls being juggled. And I promise you, some of those balls fall to the side. And I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of glad that fell, because it needs to sit right there, because it wasn't there. It wasn't ready. Right. And I believe that the power bigger than myself keeps my juggle where it needs to be at. Right. It allows me to drop the ball when I need to drop that particular ball, because I need to learn something. I need to slow down. I need to be able to take effective action and be more proficient and efficient. Right. Yeah,
absolutely. Your ability to, but you're so right with you're talking about, your family, your job, right? And it's, and then you do add that, and then you add another and another and another. And then, so I remember hearing once that we all rise to the level of our own competence. And I don't remember where I heard that, but that there were some powerful words, because they stuck with me for probably 20 something years. Right. But that also needs to be tied in with, you've got more gears than you think. Right. And you must keep pushing yourself, and you must keep getting in rooms with those who will push you, surrounding yourself. And that's going to cost you some things, right? That's going to cost you, like that. Some of those balls that are going to fall, right? They may be friends. They may be family members, right? And their desire to hold you back isn't out of some misguided, they don't want to see you succeed. It's, they don't want to see you get hurt. Right. And sometimes those are things that you got to keep adding. You got to keep stacking, right? You got to keep the juggling going, because you can't improve if you're holding on to this, right? I don't see how you can keep improving.
No, you got to continuously challenge yourself. You got to go from the ball to the bowling pin, right? To the chainsaw, you're right. You know what I'm saying? I mean, everybody's seen a juggling act where they just get more and more risky.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what it's about in life. How risky can I get? Right. And how big can that reward really become? Because at one point in time in my life, I had blinders on. Right. And I had tunnel vision. All I wanted to do was one thing, and that was to make Mike happy.
If 10 years ago, I would have told you you'd be in the best shape of your life, running a 3-mile with your family, throwing tractor tires over and putting your 4-year-old up on a rope obstacle, you would have said, what would you have said?
I said, honestly, I would have probably believed that person. And I said, I can't wait to get there. Like real talk, like because I'm a believer in speaking in things into existence, and I'm gonna.
Well, then maybe it's the Mike 12 years ago.
I'm a visual. No, that was the same 10 years. I mean, just because I made poor choices didn't mean I didn't never have forward thinking. I've always been a forward thinker from the longest I can remember.
Right.
From joining ROTC, knowing that I was going to join the military, from picking the medical industry, knowing that I was going to be in the medical field. Right. I've always been a forward thinker. I've just been a selfish forward thinker. Now I'm no longer as selfish as I once was, and I fully understand the importance of people and time management and and having clarity. We'll say my clarity has improved greatly.
That's good. That's real good.
So, but I could have imagined that 10 years from now, and because I did look at when I was 30 years old, and I did see myself 10 years from now, and I knew what I wanted. I told myself I wanted to be a millionaire by the time I was 40. And I did it 2 years earlier, right? Even though I was making poor choices and my life was on the rocks, I still had the foresight to say, I know what I want. And as I got closer to 40 and I realized I wasn't that close to being that guy, I made a big shift change, right?
Right.
I made the important decision because I knew deep down inside that's what I wanted, so juggle as hard as you want, add as much cool shit as you can, and just don't get stabbed while you're doing it.
Don't grab the wrong end of the chainsaw when it's coming at you.
Don't get stabbed while you're doing it, right? Hell, Casey, you're pretty all over the place and stuff. And I know, hell, when I first met you, you freaking everywhere.
Yeah.
Right? You were just going. And your kids were super little.
They were.
Right? They were freaking diaper time. Maybe just get, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Stumbling and breaking stuff. And you know what I mean? Like, trust me. I know. And how did you manage that work-life balance? And I know that we've talked about it behind closed doors, and there were some things that we all really had to grow up.
There was definitely that. I mean, I will say that there was definitely a time where my notion was, what is work? I don't need work-life balance. I don't need that touchy-feely voodoo mumbo jumbo. Give me some pills, because I go down to the VA and they're like, oh, kid, you got 10 problems. Here's 10 pills, right? I don't need any of that. I don't believe in any of that. And in a lot of ways, I'm not a candle, right? I don't feel like I'm going to, and I'm okay with a little imbalance, right? Because I have some radical goals, right? In my entire lineage, right? The most successful person ever, right?
You are.
Like we got here in 16, whatever, on a prison ship from England. Like, what have they amounted to? Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot of, there's not a former president or a this, that, or the other, right?
I'm with you, man.
Right, like a governor of the state of Texas.
I didn't have a Civil War like general.
Yeah. So the thing is that there's some self motivation there, and putting in the 18-hour days, day after day after day. That's pushing yourself, finding that extra gear. But one thing you're right, I have learned to do is slow it down a little bit, work a little smarter. There were some shiny, things that are in the juggling, right? I don't need to throw those axes around, right? Because you start realizing that where you're going to spend the most valuable resource you do have, your time, and how you're going to get and do the most effective things you can to grow your family, to be, I will absolutely tell you that when you and I met, I was not at home with my boys enough.
I know. We talked about it.
Right. We talked about that. Like, I remember, like, they would go to bed and I would see them basically on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Right. And that was for a while. Right. That's where things are imbalanced. And we've had a whole discussion over the summer about successful men and women who have had imbalance in their life, right? People like Walter Payton, who was just superstar, right? On the other hand, his extreme commitment to his professional career really had an imbalance with his children and his wife. And he was very lucky, as he said, in those lessons, right, that he got to restore that. Got to get that back in balance late in life, but it almost cost him everything.
Yeah.
Right. So you're great about reminding us to slow that down, right? And you tell your team that. So that's really, this isn't about the the me. Nobody wants to hear that jive talking anyway. There's 53 days left in the quarter, but one thing that Mike Doc Rannigan, and he's your doc, right? And in the third world developing country with bombs going off,
they're not developing. They're just third world. They have yet to develop. That's all I'm saying. Like,
and I don't dispute that. I totally get that. I completely agree. But what I'm saying is, when you want to talk about your medical and mental health care, Rannigan is a great resource. Pick up the phone and call him, and he'll give you his cell phone number, because everybody, I mean, it's like the white pages. I don't know anybody who doesn't have it. But here's one thing that I love about Mike is, like, Mike, I want to go to Big Ben. And you know what he said? Do it right now.
Yeah.
Right. And he doesn't say that just to his friends. He says it to the people who work for him.
Mm-hmm.
Right. They're like, hey, I want to go on a Disney cruise with my wife.
Yeah. Do it.
Mike's like, do it right now.
Yeah.
Right. And he encourages his teammates to do those things right now, because he knows, we're on this chapter, but before you know it, right, you're going to be, because you got some perspective, right? You got Lil Brooke, on not 5.
She's 5.
And then you got one who's about to be
15.
And then another one
17.
Yeah. So you're
18 in no time.
Yeah. I mean, it's like fourth quarter right now with one of those kids.
Looking up adoption shit. I'm like, whoa.
Hold on. Let's just talk about a Great Dane, baby, or something. How about a turtle? You know what?
I got you a box of butterflies. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, Jen got a turtle that's going to live 150 years. Why don't you just chill?
Yeah.
You can get it. I'll give you one of these turtles.
God,
your grandchildren will have it.
I almost, Haley, hope you're not watching. I was like, damn, why can't Haley just get pregnant? Solve this damn problem.
Do not put that in the universe.
I just messed up. But you perfectly alluded into juggling that team, right? We were talking about job, family, juggle, boom, entrepreneur, juggle, boom, growth, scale, boom, boom, all these different things that we're maintaining. And the next thing you know, you're like, oh, you're a team leader. You're responsible for them. And you work with at your job, you work with the team. And have you ever seen that team just dynamic just break down? And you're just like, holy crap, this is never going to happen. This is never going to work. What did you see with inside the corporate environment that you're in? Because I haven't been inside corporate in like 12 or 13 years, and they won't let me in.
Yeah, frankly, it happens often where I'm at. Like, there's discouraging, attempts that didn't pan out. Someone that maybe tried something a little bit more than they could manage, or just maybe like, I don't know, the dynamic between the people themselves, it just doesn't gel well. One of the things that I kind of like to do is, I think a leader doesn't just like command, you show by demonstrating with your actions. And then I think having that level of like, I don't know, you call it vulnerability or whatever, like showing that you're imperfect yourself and that you're working on some things yourself. And I think that human element of connection and relatability really helps. But I do also think that looking at it, casting the vision, sharing where you want to go, and then getting buy-in from the team, it has to be like mutually like invested in. There has to be like enough desire from each person in each respective role to want to accomplish whatever those goals are. I mean, at the end of the day, it is tricky because there are ups and downs from all the people. So I think you have to get all the people, like you mentioned before, the right people in the right seats on the right bus. Mm-hmm. That's big. That's a big thing to do. But I think if you're demonstrating that, and if you're expecting that from people, I think they follow suit.
I think you hit the nail right on the head. Having your team buy into it, and your team will buy into it if your culture's there.
Yeah,
your team will live it if the culture's there. If I breed and live and speak like positivity, so you walk in these doors and you're freaking sad panda, you're gonna walk out happy. Like, that will be my ultimate freaking thing to do, is if you come, because today I was like I was not in a good place this morning. And I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was 8, I don't know what it was. Like, we're human. Like, I am allowed to wake up pissed off. Okay.
Yeah.
And it happened this morning. I took it out on the wrong people. And I was like, I had to make amends immediately. That's the power of recovery, folks. Even if you don't have a problem, go to a recovery program just to understand some cool stuff. And that's making amends immediately, right? When you do something that is harmful, or they can shift somebody that you care about's thought process for the day, you have impacted that person's day all day long. And what's crazy, I'm so proud of my daughter, Haley. She sends She sends me the text.
Hold on, I'm taking this note down. So you're saying the one of the tenets of any recovery program is if you flip something on its side, make amends immediately.
Immediately, right?
There's some truth there.
Own that shit. Own it right off the bat.
Sorry, Keith.
Right? Own it, because as soon as you own it, because you recognize that you did something wrong.
Yeah.
Right? You recognized it, and when you do that, you get a relief, right? Because now you don't have to. You no longer feel harbored. You no longer feel guilty. You don't have resentment or angst or animosity or any of the other BS. Because I consistently try to have positive energy, right? But if I'd done so much wrong and made so much negative energy, it's going to jack with my chi. It's going to jack with my flow. And so let me find this text. My daughter, she's brilliant. It sounds like she says, Dad, I think you should apologize. I think it was out of pocket to go into this room, blah, blah, blah. It hurts her. It hurt her heart. So not only did it affect my son, but it affected my daughter. It affected the whole entire mood of my household that morning. And I was like, damn, I was selfish. I took whatever. And so I should have practiced what I preach, which is halt. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. What was I feeling this morning? Was I hungry? I was actually pretty freaking hungry this morning. And I was tired because I woke up every hour on the hour for no apparent reason. Right. And I knew I had to get up and go, but my brain wasn't where I was at. I wasn't well rested.
You didn't get restful sleep.
I did not. And so I got up and I took it out. And so I appreciate my daughter for that. I didn't respond to her immediately. I went through the entire day before I was like, damn, man, my daughter just like straight called me out. And which is important. Like my daughter is now an accountability person to me, right? And I don't know if it's because of all the what we're doing, and I'm attributing that she is mimicking the stuff that we're speaking at our home, that her mom is doing, that I'm doing, and she's like, wow, she is becoming the mini version of her parents, which is great.
That's fantastic, right? That's fantastic, cool. Right? You've got to set that example. You're talking about team buy-in, right? That starts at home. For a lot of people, and especially those of us who are parents, and even though they're like, we've got friends on here whose children are fully grown, but they got team buy-in, right? Mm-hmm. And those kids are still all in, people like Laura Lee Litherland, who's watching. Thanks for joining us. Right. But the team buy-in, right. That example that you set and that culture that you build, and then replicating something like that with your work team. Right. Yes. Getting that buy-in, letting them know that you want something for them, not just from them. Mm-hmm. Right. It ain't just how many thousands of, roofing nails they can sling.
It's not about
right?
the contract signed. It's not about the money earned, because so once a month during our team meeting, that's one of my questions. Why are you still here?
Yeah.
What keeps you coming back? Right. Because I need to know, because you're obviously showing up for a reason. I'm doing something that you keep showing up to. And one of the person was like, well, man, I really like the way you take an extra step and mentor me. And it's not mentoring me about roofing or the industry. It's mentoring me about how to change and become a better person. How can I be a better thought provoker? How can I ask better questions? You know what I mean? And so I just try to forget where I'm doing good at, because if I can figure out where I'm being good at, I can be great at it. If I can figure out where I'm failing, I can become good at that, right? So I'm constantly improving, but I can't improve without the feedback of the people that have bought into the idea and concept. So know that, Evan, as you continue to grow and you're shooting videos in Malibu, right? And you're like, damn, I need a teammate, right? You're going to have to understand, why do they want to stay with you? Why do they want to stay at your law firm? What are some of the reasons?
Because it's badass. Sorry, Keith.
But why is it badass?
I think the most critical reason is that, one, everybody is an inspiring person. Every one of our teammates is an inspiring person, right? That's one of the core values. And that's one of the things and I didn't make that up. I followed Brandon Dawson's advice, and he was like, if you are struggling with what all your core values are, take mine. Because he was like, John Maxwell gave me a lot of this, right? Mm-hmm. Be inspiring and work with people who are inspiring, right? You're going to have more fun. You're going to push yourselves further. And I also believe that they see that they're on a path, right? A commitment to excellence, being excellent every day, being more excellent than you were the day before, right? And really leveling up, not just as a law firm, just as a business. Because at the end of the day, once you hit a certain dollar amount, you're just selling widgets, man.
Yeah.
Right.
True enough.
Right. You really, I mean, they're at a certain point, right? It's key performance metrics, right? Figure out what you're good at, figure out how you can make it where you're great, and then give it a big lift, right?
Yeah,
and how do you build, right? Exactly. Right. Model, mimic, master. And doing that in such a way that you do get full team buy-in, right? That you are making sure that you're aware of their work-life balance, right? You know, that it is a place that they feel inspired and loved, right? That where their contribution moves the needle, not just a wheel in some, you know,
you're not a number. You're not, you're important. And so one of the things that we talk about in some of our team meetings, we don't even talk about business sometimes. We talk about, man, what's really going on with how's your wife? How's your kids? How's your cat? Right? You know what I mean? How are the things that make you happy? And if the things that make you happy aren't making you happy, then the odds of you performing at the company is going to be dwindled. Right? Because your home life is going to dictate your hustle. Right? And so you can put in the 18 hours, and there's two reasons people put in 18-hour days. One, they don't want to go home, right? Because something's going on at the house that they don't want to go to. Or two, they're really that busy and they really care that much. But still, at the end of the day, you better be delegating something, right? Because you should never put your family, right? It should always be God, family, work, right? You know what I'm saying? There should be that structure that never, ever falters, right? It should never. And once it does, you'll know it does. Because whatever power bigger than me will come and tell me. You'll be like, oh, how about a flat tire?
Yeah, you're gonna hit one of those tripwires.
Yeah, you're gonna hit a tripwire. You're gonna hit, you know what I mean? And I don't want to see it. It'll be like, your kid waving out the window. Next thing you know, she was a kindergarten. Now she's a senior, and you don't even have nothing to do with her.
Oh my gosh, man! It's like that.
Boom.
It's that fast.
You wake up and you're like, holy crap! I wish I could have. I wish I would have. And I don't want that today. And when you create a lifestyle, when you begin to include everybody into your circle and you begin to become honest with all those people and you develop a culture of core values, that time begins to slow down. And because now you get to appreciate those time. And that, you know what I mean? Because time is the time, but it's how do you own it, your own damn self.
So slowing down time. I think that if you listen to any sports, right, they always talk about how things like any sport's great. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Jordan, and a lot of business greats, right? Like it's the slowing down is when things get slow like that. That's when you're rising to the level of perfection. We're talking 93 Bulls. I know I use that expression a lot. 93 Bulls, right?
That was the only year Casey was allowed to watch TV in his home, and it happened to be the year the Chicago Bulls were great, and that's all he can remember. So I figured out the reason why he likes the 93 Bulls so much.
So actually, I wasn't a Bulls fan, right? Because I grew up in Houston, Texas a lot. So I was a Houston Rockets, Hakeem Olajuwon. Right, the back-to-back championship that everybody called them out.
Yeah,
right. They were a bunch of old wash-ups. Right, they were.
Wasn't Clyde Drexler on their team
the second year?
Yeah.
Right, the second year when Portland was like, we ain't got no more use for this guy. He never could beat Jordan.
Came out in a walker. So I was like, what are we doing, Houston?
Right, but
Houston, we have a problem.
They won in those 2 years. They won more Game 7 final. Everything on the line, last shot, right? They won more. I think it was something like I don't know, 40 something elimination games in those 2 years of championship, 40 something elimination games. And those athletes talk about how things would slow down, right? Because you start rising to the top. You're performing at peak level. We talked about this when we were talking about ecstasis.
Yeah, hyper focus.
Right. And then you can start predicting. Right. And you can start exactly where to throw the ball off the glass. Or more importantly, when you're working with your team like that and things start slowing down, right? You're predicting, like people are anticipating. They're like, I know that Evan needs this. Bam. I'm going to go ahead and start getting that ready. Right. Because I know I'm going to do a side pass in. He's going to flip it to Rannigan. Rannigan's going to run it up to the top, pass it back to Casey. Casey be out on the 3, completely open. Boom. Nothing but net, right? That's
Paxton.
Or that.
John Paxton. Any of the 3. I'm sorry. I don't know basketball, but whatever.
He was, yeah.
He was the guy who was a badass three
Yeah.
pointer.
Yeah.
And he was short. Anyways, keep going. Paxton.
Paxton. So, the thing is that when you get to that peak performance level, that ecstasis, when you start predicting
flow state,
right? That flow state, right? And that's really what bringing that work-life balance will get you at work, right? By having that team buy-in, by having that culture buy-in, the core value buy-in, you're going to get to that flow state. Right.
You know what we're talking about, Evan, when we say flow state? Have you ever been in that environment?
Yeah, I think I kind of equate it to like, you guys are relating it to sports analogies. Like, I mean, the people who are at the prime optimized level, they know their craft so well. Like Casey alluded to, it slows down for them because they know all of the options that are going to happen, and they can with precision, almost with perfect accuracy, predict what's going to happen because they know it so well, and they're intentional about that moment. And I think kind of what you guys are speaking out in the term of business, like flow state, if things are kind of working in harmony, it seems like you've taken the time to invest into your people, to know them well enough to know how we can collectively and exponentially become better, because everyone's giftedness, everyone's skill set, everyone's unique factor they bring to the table is much greater than we can be if we're just running ourselves into the ground, trying to do everything ourselves halfway. So flow state is actually, I love the way that y'all are leveraging that particular skill set into business, because I do think that's when we're at our best. That's like hitting the sweet spot, right? That's where it feels almost effortless. It's so fluid. Everything's just connecting well. And the end product it's really something to behold, right? It's something great and impressive. So.
But what people need to know, in order to get to flow state, you have put in countless hours of working diligently with your team, with your family, with the mistakes, with the trials and the errors. And it's been, and that's what I love so much, right? You'll get somebody that you just shook hands with and they're like, must be nice. I'm like, yeah, it is nice, actually. I said, but if you want to take down a trip down memory lane, I can tell you some of the non-nicer parts about how to get into flow state, because it doesn't happen. I mean, you look at force reconnaissance, and you look at SWAT teams, and you look at some of the most elite people in the world. They have to spend countless hours with each other,
thousands of hours,
and just putting in the work, because there's no way in hell SWAT's going to roll up to my house and one guy forget to tie a shoestring. Right? You see what I'm saying? Because it's check, double check, partner check, right? That's what it is. You check me, I check you, and then you check the guy next to you, right? It's that, and it's so consistent, and it's so repetitive that it just is muscle memory. And that's when the magic freaking happens.
That's when you get into that flow state, when you can predict, right?
And that's why you see the future,
right? When you've got a team that operates at that level, and that's a grind, right? That's a hell of
that's an obstacle.
And that's a juggling, right? Like, so how are you going to work in? And we did we've been talking all about training, just a month ago. One of the things you got to juggle with your team, right? That work-life balance, and train with them so you can keep in that flow state, right? And how many hours does that take, right? How frequent does that need to be?
I mean,
once a year? I promise you that ain't enough.
No, it's daily.
It's absolutely daily.
It's daily communication with your people. And I'm talking about all of your people.
Right.
There'll be mornings where I'll wake up and my family's on a group chat. I'll click on the video. I'm like, if I have to leave and I can't get over, I'm like, hey guys, want to let you know, go out and crush the day. Crazy ass dad, love you, blah, blah, blah. And that just changes their mindset. Like, oh, cool, man. My dad's energy. I'm energy. Let's be energy.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so when you will something into the universe, and just as long as you're willing the right thing, man, like the success comes with it, the peace comes with it, the easiness of life comes about. And when shit does hit the fan, you're like, I don't care, right? You're just like, well, no matter to me, because you already have all these wins.
Yeah,
and you know what I mean? It's like, oh, cool, I needed some of those, but my losing is kind of empty. You know what I mean? I need something to make me humble. So
you need to learn, right? You need an opportunity to learn to be better. And also, right, there's going to be tripwires your team's going to hit, right? When
inevitable.
Bassett was here, he was talking about that phenomenal lesson about being the man in the ditch, right? And truly having a servant's heart, and what, his company's core value has to do with the fact that, the good Samaritan who rescued the man in the ditch, right? When everybody else is cruising by, and being cognizant of the fact that you got a team of 10, 3 out of 10 on any given day might be just about to be falling in the ditch, right? They might be hitting a tripwire. Something flipped on their side at home and they didn't rectify it immediately, right? So Evan walks into the office and he's in a grumpy mood. Casey's always in a darn grumpy mood, right? And it just, thank God for coffee, because it makes him the only way you can deal with some of a bitch. Sorry, Keith, right? And so Rannigan's got to be, he's got to have that ability, the wherewithal to have trained with us enough to know, hey, whoa, let's time out. Let's do a quick drill. Let's get you back on track. Flip that mindset, get you ready for this work day.
And he says that, right? And I just remember, I don't know, it's been about a few months, and I think shit had hit the fan in your office, and I showed up unannounced, right? Like I was just happened to be in downtown Rockwall, and I saw his truck there, and I just rolled in, and he's like, you were fucking grumpy. I like Casey, what's really going on? And it was like, whatever. We had some coffee. It's like 4:00 in the afternoon. I'm drinking triple mocha cappuccino. I was like, never going to bed. I was like, whatever. But we talked it out because that's teamwork. Even though I'm not a part of his inner law firm, I am part of his team.
Yeah.
Right. Like I'll show up at his office unannounced and like dare ask somebody like, what the you doing here? I'm like, I feel like my team member needs me, because there's an energy, right? There's something that we've created, a common bond. And it's almost like your child, when your child's hurt, right? There is this weird, sick intuition that God has given us that lets us know that there's something going on.
Right.
Right. And I don't know what it is, because I've called him and he's like, what's up? I was like, I don't know, man. Tell me to call your ass. And there was this breakthrough moment. Right. And I do that with a lot of people. And so, and that's all because of the amount of time and energy that we've spent together over the last, I don't even know, 4, 5, 6 years, and being openly honest, putting our feels out there, putting some things out there that we're like, bro, if you don't burn me, like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what it takes. And that's what it takes to be a successful business owner. That's what it takes to be a successful family environment. And that's what it takes to have a successful team, is being willing to have those hard conversations and not judging them for that shit.
Yeah. No. That's, look, asking hard questions is something that will make your team respect you more. Mm-hmm. Right. And I used to just be a good news boss. I was not about the hard questions.
Mm-hmm.
It's difficult, right? It's difficult to be the hatchet man, right? I mean, I don't know how Michael Myers does it. I mean, it's just
consistency.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You do it 29 times in a row.
He's in flow state.
He's totally in flow state.
He's got a beat. He's like, boom, I'm in it.
Alexa, cue up.
That's it. He's
Alexa, cue up. Halloween.
Is that a fucking pumpkin? Game time. I can't. I am a huge Michael Myers fan.
Oh yeah.
Like I love it. I love that guy.
Saw it at the movie theater.
Have you seen it? Like, so even though
the original.
Yeah, that's a drive-through.
It was a drive-in.
You had to flip the pages so it.
No, you hung the radio box in the car, like going to Sonic, but not as cool.
You had to switch out the rails, and you saw the flip of the tape at the end flickering.
It's exactly.
They were changing the rails out.
Yeah, there's like an intermission.
There is a group of people watching right now that has no idea.
No
what we're
idea.
About. Evan, do you?
I was going to say you do know video.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, that's a good history.
Remember, Evan, when we talked the other day?
You don't know technology.
That's right.
They watched the documentary. Don't let them fool you. They're full of crap. They got on Netflix and they were like history of film. Right. Let's do the episode from 1960 to 1985.
Everything I know about video through the movie 8mm.
Whoa.
Too dark.
That's good. That's good.
Great movie. Great movie. Probably don't even know.
No.
Well, man, we are at the top of the hour. I think this has been a phenomenal conversation. Evan, do you got any saved rounds? Anything that you have taken away or any idea? You know what I mean? What are some saved rounds that you think we should have really hit on in regards to this juggling and balance of life and becoming a young entrepreneur?
Yeah, for sure. I think, I've heard it before. I can't remember the person that said it, but it's kind of like success at work without success at home isn't success at all. And I think today, like the big thing we touched on is like the whole idea of like how you do anything is how you do everything. You were the person that's going to show up to each of those roles and responsibilities. So just being that intentional, invested person to whoever's across from you, whoever's next to you, it's your family, if it's your team, if it's your customers, your clients, whoever it is, just, you guys being really intentional about kind of getting to that state of really optimized interaction. You guys talked about being in the flow state. So big takeaway is just, being invested into your team, your culture, and letting that kind of be the environment and kind of the beat that you guys march to collectively.
Well, we can't thank you enough, Evan, for taking time out from your family.
Yeah, really. Thank you, man.
Shedding some light on who you are, what you're about. And we're extremely excited to have you a part of the PBA team. We look forward to implementing the multi-camera feature. You guys are going to be blown away next week. It's going to look different pretty soon. I'm going to tell you what, like next week, Evan, it's like this one's happening. You better be ready because I'm a doer.
Yeah.
Like you will have what you need.
So all in. Hey, thank you guys for watching week after week. We love doing these for you. If you have any questions, comments, what have you, hit us up in the chat, man. Throw us a message on the Facebook. We got an email.
Yeah, Patriot Business Alliance TX@gmail.com.
Right. Get on it. Get after it. Hey, look, 53 days left in the year.
That you guys know, December the 15th.
Oh, hey, save round.
The save
what
round.
Day?
The December the 15th.
December the 15th,
and
which is Wednesday.
It's going to be a Wednesday. It'll be the PBAs. We're closing out 2020 whiteboard party where we're going to be discussing our wins from 2021. Not 2020, though. We did that already.
Yeah, we did that one.
And we're going to be talking about our vision into 2022. And we're going to understand how we need to keep our mindset sharp.
Yeah.
And continuously changing in the right direction. And we're going to be able to, man, it's just going to be huge. I can't even put it into words right now. There's going to be multiple whiteboards. And we're going to be able to really do some deep dive into what you want to do and crush in the next coming year.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. We're going to have some surprises as always. We're going to bring it. We're going to bring it. So you want to be there. It's December 15th. Location TBD.
No, Evan, what's the location? Evan already secured a daggone spot.
Yeah, the local desk in Rockwall. The ladies have a really awesome spot, and they have been gracious enough to let us have it there.
All right.
So
we know where it's at.
Where it's at, what time it's going to be. It's from 6 to 9. It's going to be a 3-hour event because I'm telling you, we are pouring in with energy. You think the information that we're putting out right now is gold? Like you're going to get some one-on-ones with Casey, with Jeff, with myself, with some other key people that are really going to help you transition into 2022 and close out 2021 like a boss.
Yeah.
Let's go, Brandon.
Bring it.
Let's go.
Don't be caught on New Year's Day thinking, okay,
what's going to be in their eyes?
I got Santa Claus and Father Time and sparklers in my eyeballs. And you're like, wait, I got to write resolutions and goals. Oh, no. You need to do that right now. You got 53 days, actually 52. This day's over.
It's over.
It's over.
If you don't know what you're doing next year, put your shit in one sock and get it together. That's what I'm going to tell you. You know what I mean? You're better than that, and you know you are. But we're going to get out of here. Our families need us. And thank you for joining in to the Patriot Business Alliance.
See you next week.